Hello, everybody. It's Chris Hampton, and welcome to another episode of Releasing the Champ I Am. We've been talking about embracing the new norm. We're going to talk about in this part two of embracing the new norm how to be fearless. How to be fearless. Well, when we talk about this topic of fear, um, it's, fear is a topic that in motivational circles is very popular. If you were just to go onto Facebook or Instagram, you can pull up tons of memes that are talking about, face everything and run, or fear is false evidence that appears real. And like, I'm going to deal with fear from a different point because I feel like people think fear is a negative thing, that fear is a bad thing. But when it comes to fear, I think we need to learn how to properly define it because I don't believe that fear is a bad thing. Yes, I said it. Motivational champ said fear is not a bad thing. And I think what happens is we've been programmed to see this fear and see fear as a negative thing. And so what I want to do first is I want to define. I usually look up the word whenever I have a word on the tip. I look at what the definition is. So the dictionary definition of fear. So when we define fear, is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. So the definition of fear, again, is an unpleasant emotion that's caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous or likely to cause pain or threat. So from that definition, fear is not bad. It's actually designed as an early warning detection device. It is an alarm. It's an emotional alarm that lets you know that something is wrong. Now, are alarms wrong? No. Alarms are designed to help you. If you have an alarm in your house that lets you know, it wakes you up, it startles you, but the reason for that alarm is to let you know that there's somebody in the house that is not meant to be in the house, that has an intent to do damage to you and your property. So that alarm jolts you up, and you are now moving, and now you're going to deal with the situation. The same it is with fear. Fear, again, is an uncomfortable feeling, okay? And we get caught up with this uncomfortable feeling. Rather than what we should be focusing on is our response to fear. So I want to say fear in its proper definition is not wrong, but it's how we respond to fear that we should be addressing and spending more of our effort talking about is your response to fear. Okay? And an example, fear is never meant, I think fear is meant to be, if we're in a car, fear is meant to be a passenger, but fear is never meant to drive. If when you are faced with fear, you stop, you freeze, you don't, you're unable to move, you're afraid to move out of forward or backward, you're afraid to progress, you're confined, you're constricted. These are responses to your fear. So think about when something unknown happens, or if I was in the army. So when I was in the army, we were in basic training, and one of the things in basic training they prepare you for is live fire. So they put you in a combat situation. Bombs and explosions are all over around you and surrounding you, and they have live fire bullets. So they got bullets that are way above your head, but they're live rounds that are going above your head to simulate a wartime situation. And if you're not used to that type of thing, it's almost like an assault to your senses. An assault to your senses. And what it's designed to do is to see if you are able to push through. With all these explosions that are going on, are you going to freeze or are you going to move forward? The problem is if you're in a wartime situation or at that type of situation, if you freeze, you're dead. If you're moving forward, you have more chance to live and survive the situation. And that's what I'm talking about fear, is that fear can never get to the point where it confines you and it stops you from moving. That's what we want to get you through. I'm going to share how I got through that combat situation when we did the live fire in a second. So how do I handle fear in times of uncertainty, especially in times of uncertainty? Right now, it's 2020, and we're dealing with the pandemic of the COVID-19. And right now, there's a lot of fear and anxiety. We're seeing death around us, and loved ones are passing away that we never thought would pass away. So it's a situation that can bring fear and anxiety. Yes, fear meaning the alarm is yes. We can no longer live the way that we were living. We're going to have to change how we were living. So the response is, do I freeze? Do I lock myself in the room? Do I take lock myself in the room with negative thoughts? And I looking at the TV all day, just taking in negative information? Is that how I'm going to handle that? Because now I'm afraid to step out my house. They're talking about more people during this time period are going to have agoraphobia, afraid to leave their homes. Is that the proper way to respond to the fear situation? No. So how do you handle fear, especially during times of uncertainty? Well, I think step one is acknowledge that you are afraid. Acknowledge that you are okay. Acknowledge that it's okay. Fear is okay. That you're all right to be feeling the way that you're feeling. A quote that I'm saying right now is that it's okay to be afraid. It's not okay to live afraid. I'll say it again. It's okay to be afraid, but it's not okay to live afraid. Because once you identify your fear, what happens is you acknowledge that fear is okay, then you have a sense of control. Okay, this is happening. All right, this is real. Okay? When the bombs were going off around me, I had to what? I had to acknowledge the situation that I was in. And that the situation is not going to change if I freeze. Actually, if I freeze and I stay where I am, it's going to prolong the situation. Okay? So I have to acknowledge that when I'm in the battlefield situation, that the bombs were going off, that the live bullets were above my head, but the safest place for me was at the other side, the end of the course. Okay? And that me sitting in that situation is going to just prolong the experience and then create anxiety. So acknowledge that the fear is okay. I also acknowledge that I'm not going to live in the fear. Number two, you need to identify the source. Identify the problem. Okay? So we realize right now when I'm dealing with we're dealing with the sickness. So we realize one of the sicknesses that we have to be able to social distance. It's something that we have never done before, something that we have experienced in our lifetime. So now we identify part of the solution to the problem is that we can't be in the same place together all the time. Okay, we have to social distance. Okay, I identify the problem is that the problem is that I got to deal with my issues of being alone. I got to deal with now the new normal. Okay, but I at least know what the problem is so I can address my attention to that. You have to wash your hands better than you were doing before, paying attention to how you're coughing. These are identifying the problems that were there. And when you identify the problems, you're able to now create actions that address the problem. Okay? So once we understand the problem, that's number two. We identify the problem, and then we understand the problem. So that comes from getting the right information from the right source. So if you're getting your information, and your information is not credible, it's going to add to your anxiety bank. And what you don't want to do is add to your anxiety bank. So you get the information, and then you say, well, then you also have to learn how to, number three, apply that information. So it's not just getting the knowledge, but being able to have the wisdom to apply the knowledge appropriately. So we understand the problem, we understand the source. We identify the source. We understand, start to look at the problem. We start to understand the problem by getting knowledge and the right knowledge to be able to address it. And then after that, we can start to build a game plan of appropriate action. So I want to stop here and just pause here for a second and just think this. You want to know the way that you can, one of the key ways of fearing less is to be able, I call it the antidote to calm fears. Okay? So it's almost like a pressure release. You want to start to learn that, again, we're dealing with the fear part. Like, you don't want to be fearless. I think fearless people are dangerous. Have you ever looked at your adventure movies and all those different movies, and the fearless person runs into battle, and then by the end of the movie they're all haggard, they're barely walking, and everybody who was a part of their team against them. Those are fearless people. I'm not asking you to be fearless, but I'm asking you to fear less. And here's how I use the antidote to calm fears. The antidote to calm fears is knowledge and being able to have information and being able to learn more about the situation. When I realized about the battlefield situation of the live fire rounds, yes, there were live bullets that can bring anxiety going overhead. Those explosions were some of the biggest explosions I've ever experienced in my life. But then I realized that this was a mock situation. This is a training situation. So the knowledge that I hadn't received, I was able to apply it to me. This is a mock situation. The bullets are way above my head. So if I stay to the ground, I'm able to complete this course. So what happened was, I didn't become the fearless soldier, but because of the information that I received, I was able to fear less and then get through that obstacle course. So another part about getting information is being able to, so we talked about getting, when you're having an understanding, but here's another important thing about getting information. There are laws that are out there, but when you're dealing with the situation, you want to find a higher truth to fight the facts that are trying to hinder you from moving forward. So yes, in situations they can say, fear is false evidence that appears real, and I kind of take with that aspect. But what it is it's evidence. It's real. Okay, it's facts. Okay, but a lot of times what happens to you is we are assaulted with facts. Okay, but it is the facts that is evidence that appears real. So you have to find a law, okay, or find a principle that will trump the principle or the fact that you're looking at. And a perfect example is the law of gravity. What's the law of gravity, people? Isaac Newton, what comes up must come down. What comes up must come down. Yes, that is a law, okay, that doesn't change. Until you find a law that is higher than that, which is the law of aerodynamics. And the law of aerodynamics states that something can go up and still remain. And here's the funny thing about the law of aerodynamics. The law of aerodynamics existed even though the law of even before we knew of the law of gravity, the law of aerodynamics existed. Okay? So just because what you're dealing with right now, there's a lot of facts, you have to find out that do the facts actually apply to me. An example that you talk about for entrepreneurs. Well, businesses most businesses don't get past 5 years. Well, that is factual. But what makes this evidence is that evidence have to apply to you? No. That's what makes it false. How it applies to you. You can succeed regardless of that 5-year limit. Okay? Because you're not most people. So that shouldn't stop you from moving forward. It shouldn't stop you from growing and being the best of you. So I want you to say this. So we talked about, when it's okay to fear. It's okay to be afraid. But we realize that it's okay but it's not okay to live afraid when it gets to the point where it gets down on the inside. We talked about, again, acknowledging that fear is okay, identifying the source in the problem, understanding the problem, which it says, the more I know, I fear less. Again, the more I know, I fear less. So I need to get the proper knowledge and the proper application, which is wisdom of that knowledge, so that I can continue being able to go through this battle course of life. Okay? Finding a fact or a law that is higher than the situation that you're in. There's a possibility that there is another law that trumps the law that you're in right now that's able to keep you up when everything else is falling down. Okay? So again, when this is all over, hopefully we've given you some skills that you can apply with your life and take yourself to the next level. I know this was a little bit longer than normal, but I want to take my time to deal with this because I believe that there are a lot of people that are struggling with fear and anxiety right now, and some people are feeling guilty because of the fear, because they have fear and they can't even acknowledge that fear is real. Okay? And fear is okay. But we know that it's just an alarm system that's designed to help. Okay? So again, we're looking forward to you tuning in. If you like this, please share this. If you feel like this is helpful information, please like and share this. And again, thank you for joining Chris Hansen with Releasing the Champ I Am. And I look forward to seeing you for part 3 of Embracing the New Norm, which is learning how to deal with the pressure. Thank you.